Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got Jonathan Rose on today, and today's topic is going to be crypto. And specifically, I'm going to start with a very difficult question. And that is, why should we buy crypto? If we should, why? Jonathan, welcome to the Prophecy Club.
Thanks for having me back, Stan. As you know, I'm a big proponent for alternative assets. You know, you've had me on talking about precious metals before, which I believe is an integral part of a balanced portfolio. But now, also, I truly believe that assets such as cryptocurrency, particularly, Bitcoin, Ethereum, even XRP, are all assets people should be holding on to. And the reason for this is because crypto, simply put, is the future of money. When President Trump campaigned, one of his campaign agendas was to make America the US crypto capital of the world. Very vocal on that. And he has not only, rise to office and made a lot of great changes for infrastructure and technology for America, but he is making assets like Bitcoin, which is kind of digital gold. You'll hear me refer to Bitcoin a lot because it's the flagship bearer of everything crypto, that Bitcoin has become so legitimized now that President Trump is now adding it to the US Treasury. What else is in the US Treasury? Well, people know gold. Gold is in the US Treasury. Well, now so is Bitcoin. And if you're looking at people purchasing Bitcoin right now, even the Trump family, who, let's face it, are probably one of the most canceled names in history, in political history, are forging their own path economically because they don't want to be subjected to banking failures, market manipulation. And they're looking at honest money. And honest money with no political baggage, no debt, is Bitcoin, especially as a store of value. So not only have they added it to the US Treasury, but President Trump's social media company just recently purchased $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. And that trend doesn't end there. You have people like Michael Saylor from MicroStrategies, purchased over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Actually, he just purchased another few billion. Even the Harvard Endowment Fund, which we know is a very lefty-leaning movement, just purchased $218 million worth of Bitcoin. And the list goes on and on. And now sovereign wealth funds are buying Bitcoin. And sovereign wealth funds are basically the country's bank account, country's personal bank accounts. And when you're turning on the news, it's very hard not to see a headline that mentions crypto, President Trump, Bitcoin, right? And now you're seeing these headlines that are saying that, GameStop creating its own Bitcoin reserve, XYZ company creating its own Bitcoin reserve, a pharmaceutical traded company buying a Bitcoin reserve. So the question is, people are asking, Bitcoin reserve, what is that? Right? And why are they doing it? What has a pharmaceutical company got any business buying Bitcoin? And the answer comes back down to is the shareholders. And when the shareholders are buying stocks in these companies have a surplus of cash, and either parking it in a bank account making 0% or parking it in the bond market, which is what they normally do. The bond market is on very tumultuous grounds right now, and the bond market is in fear of collapsing. So where are these people parking their cash reserves, their cash stocks? Well, they're looking at Bitcoin, because over the past 10 years, Bitcoin has averaged 29% a year. And if you are a shareholder in a pharmaceutical company and they're creating their own piggy bank worth of Bitcoin, if that company takes a loss, well, their cash reserves in Bitcoin will offset that and will look really attractive on the balance sheet. So when Bitcoin and cryptocurrency came out, it was kind of viewed as, let's face it, a quick rich scheme, right? You hear it, all these stories of millionaires being created. Well, that now is beginning to be in the rearview mirror, and the market is being legitimized. So much so that a lot of these big power banks, JP Morgan, Fidelity, who used to be naysayers of assets like Bitcoin, have actually capitulated, taken the knee, and are now offering Bitcoin to their clientele. So really what we're seeing is that it's a new asset class that's emerged. It's not going away now. We now have full adoption. And what I mean by that is how President Trump is passing these bills, which we'll also talk about. And these bills are legitimizing this industry to make it more credible and safer, not just for institutions, but if the smart people are watching, also the retail investors like you and I. So they're laying the foundation, they're erecting the pillars, they're putting the roof on. And really what we're experiencing and witnessing is the biggest wealth transfer in history currently underway. And one of the main reasons for this, Stan, is simply put because look at the US dollar. The US dollar is drowning in debt.
Yeah.
It's a locomotive that's going to derail.
Right.
And when you look at the banking system, they're now moving everything over to the new payment gateways. The new payment gateways that are being used is crypto. It's cryptocurrency. So President Trump is being very transparent on how to financially get rich, how to financially break away from that matrix of those measly returns in the stock market, and witnessing the biggest wealth transfer in history. And you can either be a part of it, or you can sit back and say, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, because this is one of those moments. With my background, being in banking, working for Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, I've seen the evolution of finance. And this right now is kind of like that iPhone moment, that revolutionary jump into a new sector. And we're still at early stages. Even though an asset like Bitcoin is over $100,000 a token, we're only at 18% adoption globally for Bitcoin. That is the equivalent of being the birth of the internet. So this space is here to stay. The tip of the spear is still being sharpened. Okay,
Well, that's the point that I wanted to ask you. So when we were talking about me getting a Prophecy Club, getting some crypto, I ask you, okay, now I've got emails. People say, well, look, don't get Bitcoin because it's already really, really high. And the chances of you making very much money on Bitcoin is just not going to happen. What you need to do is get one of the little bitty ones like, XRP or something like that. Your comment, by the way, can you give advice on this? Because I can't, but can you?
Yeah, don't constitute this as financial advice. You always have to give those disclaimers. I can give you my decades of experience. Bitcoin and Ethereum are like the gold and the silver. Okay, they're stable. Ethereum is great because all these applications on the blockchain that are being built and the banks that are using these payment gateways, it's built on a blockchain, and that blockchain is Ethereum. So Bitcoin is looked at as a place as a store of value, like gold. Excuse me, and Ethereum is a gateway to build apps on the blockchain, which banks are using. So they're my kind of 1-2 punch. Other tokens out there like XRP and Solana, not to say that they're bad, but my holdings in those are much smaller because I feel that those ones can be obviously manipulated a little bit more. There's a lot of very good marketing around those. I know there's a lot of prophecies around XRP.
Right.
And people, if they're very bought into XRP, I'm not going to shoot them down because everyone obviously has their beliefs on that. But what makes us so different, and why I'm happy to share this with your audience at prophecyclubcrypto.com, is that when people buy cryptocurrency right now, the first thing we do, Stan, is make sure they can do it safely and securely. And we actually offer a $200 million insurance wrapper. So people's monies are safe, and we have military grade encryption. So that's the most important thing. Secondly, when people buy cryptocurrency right now, all they can do is what we call a buy and hold model. Buy and hold it. So that may work well for certain assets out there, maybe like gold. You buy gold, you throw it in the safe, you forget about it. But with cryptocurrency, a buy and hold strategy, not to say that it's wrong, but if you're doing a buy and hold strategy in crypto, you're going to lose the race. It's the dinosaur approach. And we know what happened to those guys, right? And the reason why I say that is because in crypto, there's no opening bell, there's no closing bell. It's not like at the stock market. Right. There's no opening bell, no closing bell. It's traded 24/7, 365. That means you could be asleep. Hypothetically, China could invade Taiwan. President Trump can sign an executive order and it can send the markets into a tizzy, positively or negatively. So with crypto, because a lot of information is out there, it's so much data that if you're in a buy and hold situation with crypto, we have seen over the past 8 years, Bitcoin drop 50%. And if you're a retail investor, the highs are very high. The lows, what happens is when the market drops, you better have a hard hat on, a seat belt, a double harness coming over you, because the psyche of the mind sees it dropping and people say, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose everything. I'm just going to sell. And they sell at a loss, okay, because they don't have the stomach for the buy and hold, because even though it's dropped, what happens is they sell, they get out, they lose money, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth, and then they start seeing it climb back up. And then they say, oh, I wish I should have held. So a buy and hold strategy for crypto can be very tumultuous. What makes Prophecy Club Crypto very different is you've teamed up with myself and my team. And our company, Block Trust IRA and Animus Technologies, works together. And what we have is the #1 really trading solution for Bitcoin and Ethereum. It was voted #1 by Bitcoin Magazine. And what I mean by this is instead of the buy and hold strategy, we have very sophisticated AI, not the bad type, because I know there's some bad types out there. And this AI is looking at copious amounts of data.
Everything.
Why is that important? Well, because people aren't traders, #1. And #2, data is the new oil, right? Data is the new oil. There's so much data out there. It would take millions of our brains combined together to research macroeconomic data, price technical analysis movement, on-chain metrics. On-chain metrics is seeing who's buying, who's selling, right? Investor sentiment. So we're able to take millions and millions of data points and we get these signals. And these signals will tell us, it's like a lifeguard on a beach. Don't go in the ocean, red flag,
right.
Water's choppy, there's a tide pool here. And it tells us to stay out of the water. Well, when the green flag comes on, that's when we know we can go back in. So with these signals, what we're able to do for our customers is that when we love volatility, by the way, this is how we do it. Volatility used to be something people ran away from. This volatility gives us now the ability to beat the buy and hold strategy. And we've done that 4 years in a row with audited returns. And this is why we were voted the #1 trading strategy globally.
So let me summarize it. So you're saying when they get crypto through you guys, they have the AI watchman that is watching to see that if it starts falling, it quickly sells it for them. And if they see it start then rising again at the right time, it quickly rebuys them in.
Yeah.
So it takes the highs and lows out. Now, are you saying that it basically guarantees they're not going to lose a whole lot of money, or what?
Yeah. So first of all, anyone that guarantees you that you'll never lose money in crypto should be a red flag, and you should run a mile. But what our tech does, and with this tech has only been available to hedge funds and elites. We've brought this institutional tech down and being able to give it to the retail investor. But what it does is that drawdown, without it, the buy and hold and the market goes down is going down here. But maybe my hand here, maybe it goes down a little bit, sees that there's a mass exit, gets people out, puts them in cash, and we avoid this big drawdown. So what we're doing is 2 things here. 1, we're mitigating that downside risk. And 2, when the market bottoms out and it's time to buy back in, we're able to buy back in. And now we're doing my favorite thing in investing, which is compounding, because you're able to buy now more tokens at a lower price. And when the market rises back up, we're able to substantially grow the portfolio. Now, the same here goes for when it's going up. It never goes up forever. And we also know when to get out at the very top. So we'll never get out at the very, very top. I don't think anyone can pretty much determine that. But it will be a few points in between. Right. And the same with the volatility going down. We'll never get back in at the very bottom, but a few points in between. But what we're really able to establish here is a safer way to invest in crypto that beats the buy and hold strategy. And this is proven.
Okay, so Is there a way where they can go on some website someplace and see how their investment is doing and if
Absolutely.
you made money or lost money?
Absolutely. So we have a portal. So we work with an institutional company called SFox. They're our brokerage company. So they'll have, a portal, just like a bank account, just same as a bank account. You can go on, log on. It's 100% liquid. We provide and achieve these types of returns, more importantly, with no leverage and no lockup. And if people aren't familiar with leverage, if you've ever traded in futures and you have like, well, $100 controls $1,000, right? And then you can risk losing that money. We don't do any of that. We're able to sophisticated software and AI, and you're not giving money to an AI or robot. We just have the best AI giving us the best signals paired with the best traders married together. And we're able to use this volatility to get us into the market, put us in cash when there's volatility, and move us back into the tokens afterwards.
Okay, so let me summarize this, see if I'm getting this. So you're saying gold and silver is, for the most part, a buy and hold situation. Yes, we believe that silver is going to skyrocket, but it's mostly a buy and hold, whereas crypto is if someone has part or a lot, for whatever reason, they don't want to buy and hold. They want to actually make some money. They want their money to make them some money. And you're saying that of all of the things out there, the way you're seeing it, one of the best things to do is to invest in crypto. Okay, now they call your office, and I told you I called you the other day, and I said, okay, so a friend of mine in a very high position said that I should get stable coin, and you said yeah, and so fill in the blank, and then tell them what you told me.
So stable coins, when President Trump passed an act called the Genius Act, it was to do with stable coins, which I'll explain. And the Genius Act wasn't just to do with stable coins. It was really to do with infrastructure to help legitimize the cryptocurrency market. A stable coin essentially is a coin that kind of, after its namesake, remains stable. It's only worth $1. But the difference now with the stable coins in the Genius Act is that President Trump and his administration is saying, great, we love stable coins because people need to park their money somewhere that's not fiat, but they want to keep it in the crypto.
So it's basically more buy and hold.
It's basically a place to park your money before you make another trade for people. But
Okay, all right. Then the big question is, if we've got some money we want to actually make money on, then we understand there's a bit of a risk there. What do we do?
well, stablecoin. Let me finish just explaining to you what the stablecoins
I'm
are.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just because the stablecoin is a value of one, but what President Trump did with the Stablecoin Act, the Genius Act, is to say, okay, great, the value of one, but prove it. Prove to us that that value of one is really a value of one by now banks issuing these stable coins have to show on their balance sheet. On the flip side, if you're issuing 100,000 stable coins at a value of one, there needs to be paired somewhere another bank account showing there's collateral that shows 1-to-1. It could be gold, it could be dollars. So it legitimizes the fact that if people are holding stable coins, you're not just taking the word of the company that's
In air.
worth $1. No, these banks are now being audited and they have to have the financials to back up the collateral for that 1-for-1. Okay. So really what stable coins are essentially outside of that part, what I explained, is an on-ramp into crypto to make purchases, because sometimes when people buy tokens, you can't just buy them. It's kind of complicated. You need to have stable coins first and then transfer your stable coins, into the token that you want. We make this super easy. We don't have to worry about changing wallets, hot wallets, cold wallets, seed phrases, all the things you're thinking right now. What does that even mean? We put that aside. We make this extremely easy. People can purchase over 60 different cryptocurrencies. We don't mess around with any of these meme coins. They're just going to take your money. We only work with the high cap, high market valuation cryptos. We provide $200 million in insurance, so people's money is safe, military grade encryption. And I think the most exciting part of all of this is that if you have an IRA or a 401k, you can roll this over legally. The IRS lets you roll over your IRA, 401k, your retirements into cryptocurrency, tax-free and penalty-free. And if you're listening and you're saying, well, I don't have an IRA, can I still buy crypto through you? I listen to Stan all the time. Yes, you can. prophecyclubcrypto.com. Let that be kind of like the front door to kind of enter the shop and peruse around, because people need to have an education first and foremost on cryptocurrency. Is it even right for you, right? Or maybe you just want to get a better understanding of how cryptocurrency is working and why it's now an integral part of a balanced portfolio. President Trump is blazing the way for people to become financially free using cryptocurrency. The biggest wealth transfer is currently underway. Over 88,000 millionaires were created in Bitcoin last year. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to 100x. Bitcoin is still inexpensive at $100,000 a coin. People are talking $250,000, $1 million a coin, because there's a fixed supply of these coins, Stan. There's only 21 million of these tokens ever minted. So it's not like gold where you can dig it up, find more natural resources. It's a fixed supply of these tokens. And I think what people need to understand, that the future of money is crypto. And it doesn't matter if a coin is worth X or Y. What's really important here is getting in on this new form of money and having the right tools to manage this money. So coins, no matter what, will always go up, will always go down, just like gold, just like stocks. But what if you had the ability to kind of have that watchman, as you mentioned? I think you said it was a watchman, right? The watchman with the security guard with a flashlight that's letting us know before the retail market knows when people are leaving the market, and this is what our AI does. And on maybe another show, we'll pull up some graphs and we will show some case studies of when the AI and our team sold out our clients' positions at 100,000 when the market dropped to 70,000. The market's now back up to 100,000 again. But we will show some real life examples of when the AI, the signals, gave us these signals, told us not to be in the market because of the volatility, put us in cash into safety, and then when the time was right, bought back in. And I can tell you right now, Stan, that everyone that's investing with us, especially through Prophecy Club Crypto, are doing very well. They're beating the buy and hold market. They're making money, and they're making better returns now than they would be just sitting in the stock market, which I think is getting ready to burst. People are positioning their assets into this new arena, cryptocurrency. President Trump is doing it. He's doing it with transparency. He's letting people know that he's doing it. And I would be doing what the Trump family is doing right now, because everything they touch does turn to gold. And crypto and financially, the big banks, sovereign wealth funds, these big even pharmaceutical companies and stock companies, they are loading up on Bitcoin, also Ethereum. But again, I keep talking about Bitcoin because it's the flagship, because they know it's the future of money, and long-term hold, owning an asset like Bitcoin will give them a stronger return in the future than what we're seeing right now, especially with inflation creeping in.
Okay, I know that if they call you, you're going to give them the best advice for them. And there may be an occasion where you say that for your situation, maybe Ethereum or XRP might be better. But just in general, if just a general person calls you and says, what would you recommend I get? I know you keep talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or what's your suggested, your general suggestion?
Yeah, my general suggestion is, and I'll make this perfectly clear, what people buy, is no bearing on myself. Okay. You can do the old-fashioned buy and hold with us. If you wanted to do a buy and hold strategy, please, by all means, you can do that. I think the important thing is getting in. If you want what we call managed accounts, we only offer that for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, why just those two? Why not all these other coins? Because Bitcoin and Ethereum is such a big market that there's so much data. There's so much data out there that we can use and read to successfully predict the market going up or down. These other coins, such as XRP and Solana, they're smaller cap markets. We have been running for the past 6 months kind of what we call shadow accounts to kind of trade them to see if we can offer the same type of returns that we can with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we will be launching those managed accounts for these other coins, but we don't want, especially the traders, don't want to put out our products to another token if we're not 100% confident that we can repeat what we do with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So eventually we will offer these managed accounts at some point for the XRPs and Solana. But right now, you can buy XRP, you can buy Solana, you can buy over 60 different cryptocurrencies. What do I have in my portfolio personally? I have a blend of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, am I against XRP and Solanas? Absolutely not. I think people will make money in those. But I know through our managed system and using our sophisticated AI, I don't have a cheerleader hat and a flag for any one particular token. I'm interested in capturing that up, mitigating that risk, being able to buy it back in. And it just so happens we do that extremely well, very successfully with Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay. My last question then. So I get into it. I put some money in and all of a sudden, it's a family emergency or whatever. I got to lay my hands on some money quick. Just how quick is quick, and what do I do to get some money back out of that?
Yeah, same day. You can liquidate through your portal. You can call our company. You can liquidate. So it's instantaneously. You can liquidate the same day.
So it's even faster than precious metals.
It is, because with precious metals, you may have to pick it up, ship it somewhere, insured, go through processing. It could take 3 to 5 days for precious metals. Cryptocurrency is the same days. It's liquid. You can turn it back into fiat instantly.
I like it. Okay. prophecyclubcrypto.com. prophecyclubcrypto.com. Is there a phone number that they can also call?
There is. At the top of my head, Stan, I have so many numbers in there. I'd have to grab my phone and look at it. But I would say Prophecy, and I'll tell you why prophecyclubcrypto.com. I mean, first of all, people can make an appointment with one of our crypto specialists. When they go to Prophecy Club Crypto, they can request some information, look around, but they can also schedule an appointment to speak to one of our crypto specialists. So that's probably going to be the best way for your audience to reach us.
prophecyclubcrypto.com. 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 You're going to wake up in the middle of the night saying prophecyclubcrypto.com. Jonathan, once again, my brother, thank you so much for being on. You're a wealth of knowledge, a deep well. And I sense your heart is you want to help and you want to see nobody get hurt.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Thank you, Stan. I really appreciate you having me on today.
Back again soon.
God bless.
When the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these from EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your Prophecy Club.